Hello everyone, in this video I'd like to show you how to make spaghetti carbonara. Very simple yet delicious in my opinion dish that you can make just in a few minutes. We will need pork belly, can be bacon, can be other type of pork belly, doesn't really matter. Eggs, these eggs are washed so it's okay to keep them on the counter. Fresh grated cheese, in this case it's cheddar. Black pepper, freshly cracked, garlic with no germs, and durum-wheat spaghetti. Please try to buy. I don't know. It's my opinion, my taste. Durum-wheat is much better. So because it takes longer to cook and it's easier to make it al dente. And I prefer this taste than non-durum-wheat pasta. So. We'll start by cutting garlic in small pieces. I took a lot of garlic, but I like garlic, so should be fine. So that's the end result after you cut it like that several times. And let's put it to the edge of the board and take some pork belly, around 100 grams. It's gonna shrink because we're gonna render the fat out of it, so you can take a little more. In this case I think that should be enough. Then we'll put it on a pan, on a cold pan. I'm gonna explain why. So here's the pan, put this pork belly like that, then we start the heat. Set the low heat. Why? Because the temperature of at which the pork belly renders the fat is way lower than when it gets brown. So when you put it on, if you put it on a hot pan, it's gonna get brown without rendering too much fat. It's going to render some fat, but not as much as it's if you put it on a cold pan. So what you wanna have. And yes, I didn't add any oil because it's gonna render a lot of fat. There is no need for additional oil. You're gonna need to keep it at low temperature like that without browning it too much until all the fat is rendered out. And only after that you can increase the temperature. So we're gonna keep it here for a few minutes, stirring from time to time. First, don't stir it. Just let it stay like that, and then we're going to make the preparation for the sauce. This sauce preparation is extremely simple. You just take a cup and just beat eggs inside. These are nice fresh eggs. I really like them. Then you simply add cheese, grated cheese. This amount should be fine. In this case it's around 30, 40, maybe 50 grams. Then you add black pepper, not all, just like that, and you mix. That's it. That's the preparation. Meanwhile, keep an eye on the pork belly. You can see it starts rendering fat, but it doesn't get brown. It does just a little in the middle, but because it's in the middle, I can reduce the temperature a little. And just keep it on the heat like that for a few minutes. Meanwhile, let's prepare the pasta water. Pour some full can of water, set it at the highest temperature. By the way, I had to add just a little splash of vegetable oil because this pork belly doesn't have a lot of fat inside. So, but if it has a lot of fat, it should be okay without any oil. Then you can add garlic. so it gets combined with the flavor. Make sure to mix it in order for the garlic not to burn. And when we make any pasta water, we add a lot of salt. Should be like sea salt, sea water. Should be salty as sea water around. And yes, bring it to a boil and keep mixing the pork with the garlic. I've been frying the bacon for around 6 minutes, so it's time to stop. I turned off the heat because otherwise the garlic will just burn. The pork is ready, so now we're gonna make pasta water. When we cook pasta, we don't want to cook it fully, don't want to overcook it. So if the package instruction says 8 minutes, which is in my case, try to cook it for 6 minutes, then try it. If it's al dente, it's time to remove it, from the water and put it on the pan, because it's gonna be cooked inside the pan, and also even after you finish cooking pasta and mix it, and it's gonna be cooked for a few minutes with the remaining heat. So if you take it off early, it will be cooked perfectly at the time when it's served. So now the water is boiling. Don't add pasta and water before it's boiled. Take some spaghetti and we just put them in water like that without breaking. Then gradually push it inside until it's completely inside the water. Keep mixing it from time to time. May seem like not a lot, in fact it's actually quite a lot, because it's going to soak some water and it will increase its volume, so it's fine. When you cook it, make sure it doesn't stick to the bottom. It's really important because the heat is the highest on the bottom. So if you keep it, if several pieces of your pasta are lying on the bottom all the time without being stirred, it's gonna get stuck and burn. So just make sure that you mix it from time to time. So it's been cooked for around 6 minutes. It's just a few seconds before becoming al dente. It's very important to taste it, so you can't really blindly follow the instruction and use the timer. You gotta just take one piece and taste it from time to time. For example, you think it's ready, you take this and you taste. In this case it's al dente already. And you can also use a method by pressing it between your fingers, and if you see that there are still some trails of uncooked pasta in the middle, it's al dente. So it's time to dump out the water and keep some pasta water in a mug or in a cup before you do this. So then we're gonna turn on the heat, make it high heat, add some of this pasta water on the pan, just to deglaze it. So it has some starch, which will also help to deglaze the construction and make the sauce stick. Just cook it for a few seconds at high temperature. That's fine. Okay, here comes the tricky part. You put pasta in this and you remove you turn off the heat, and you take wooden spatula. It's easier for me to do this with a wooden spatula, and you add this sauce, constantly mixing. You don't want your sauce to be scrambled, and just you use the remaining heat on your pan to cook it because eggs, they tend to scramble, they're overcooked, which will result in your sauce to be not homogeneous. So you use the remaining heat from pasta and water, and you constantly stir it. Just like that. For a few seconds. The cheese melts, the eggs are being cooked, which gives you this texture. And if you're not sure, if you can, I can see that now, for example, it's not it doesn't have enough structure, it's not sticky enough. You can just turn off the heat for a few seconds, but be careful. That's it. And it's ready to be served. Okay, that's the end result. You can serve it with black pepper. And let me try. That's really good. You don't need to add any salt because you use salty water for the glazing. It has just right enough salt. The eggs are not scrambled. The sauce is more or less homogeneous, and that's the end result that you get. So yeah, you can try it at home. Thank you for watching.